Let Sleeping Dogs Lie, Book 3. Hannah and Joel sat in the Outback restaurant, just finishing a very nice meal. Joel looked over at Hannah and was about to speak when Hannah cut him off. Hannah had something special to tell Joel, and she could not wait for his words of passion. Hannah had spent the last 2 years with Joel, and in the beginning she had allowed his innocence to play with her heart, but for over 6 months his innocence had made him seem more the fool than the lover she had hoped for. Still, he was able to sweet-talk her into a relationship with gifts and money. Loyalty from Joel was a given. Over time, however, Hannah had tired of Joel, gifts and all. But just as she had decided she no longer wanted to be in a relationship with him, he produced a very expensive ring. For well over a month, Hannah had tried to decide what to do, and finally tonight she had decided would be the combination of all the time she had thought of on the subject. Hannah said, "Joel, I need to tell you something that might sound harsh, but believe me, it is in your best interests." Joel sat up a little straighter as he waited for what he expected was about to be a very heartfelt and stinging statement. The tension was strong, yet Joel said nothing. Hannah continued, "We've been together a good long while, but it is time for us to let this relationship go. I have not been happy over these past few months, and the ring you gave me only made it more difficult for me to break up with you. Do you understand?" Joel replied, "I guess I get the message, but maybe we need to ask ourselves to review our love before we just walk away." Hannah, wanting to get this over with and move on as quickly as possible, told Joel, "I have had a good deal of time to think. I want you to accept this ring back and understand that it is not you, it is me." Joel had heard this statement repeated over and over from and about others, but he had never expected to hear these words come out of Hannah's mouth. He said, "Are you sure that you want to return this ring now? Maybe we should wait and see before we just give up." Hannah again offered the ring, and this time Joel accepted it, slowly removing it from the finger he had placed it on just over a month ago. Joel got up from the table and headed for the door. His heart in hand, it appeared he just had enough and gave up. Joel never turned or said another word, and that was good enough for Hannah. It was a few long moments later, as Hannah was congratulating herself, that the waitress came over with the check. Hannah had never paid the check before, so it took her a few moments to realize that Joel had gone in such a state that he had forgotten about the check. Hannah pulled out the debit card that she and Joel had shared and gave it to the waitress. During the time the waitress was gone, Hannah had taken a moment to think about how she had managed to get rid of Joel with little muss or fuss. He had gotten the ring back, something she had not planned on. She had expected him to say, "Keep it as a sign of our love," or some such thing, but he had caught her off guard and slipped it from her finger. Hannah expected Joel would be back soon with her ring in hand. Anyway, the debit card she used had been filled with money being set aside for her personal needs and their future wedding. Since there was not going to be a wedding, all that lovely money was going to be all hers once she could get to the bank and transfer it into one of her personal accounts. The waitress, with head down, brought the card back and told Hannah that there were insufficient funds on the card. Hannah's head could not make sense of what she was being told. Hannah replied in a nasty and high voice, "Are you crazy? There are thousands of dollars on that card." Then, in the next moment, she realized how she sounded and apologized. She reached into her bag and pulled out her Discover card. The waitress smiled and took the card. Within moments, the waitress was back, smiling with the Discover card in hand. Hannah took the card, placed a very nice tip on the bill, and signed the bill. As she left the Outback, Hannah tried to understand what had just happened. Since she had never used the debit card in a restaurant, maybe she had made some foolish error. Still, she wanted to get to the bottom of this as soon as possible. The Chase Bank, just up the street, was open 24 hours and gave her the opportunity she needed to check the bank card. As with all stories, there comes a moment to stop and catch one's breath, and we have reached that moment. The next installment is right around the corner, and you will be surprised. So next time.